friends, I'm Merritt, and this is the Just Because Buzz Quilt Tube. Yes, you heard me right. You know that I'm a quilter, but I haven't shared specifically a video of just quilts. And this year, I issued a challenge to myself and to my friend Louise, and one other friend has joined us, and maybe another friend. Haven't checked in with her. But anyway, our goal is to finish 25 UFOs. And in quilting world, UFO is kind of like a whip in the cross stitch world. So UFO is an unfinished object. And so it's a quilt that you've started, but you haven't finished it yet. And so I have more than 25 to finish, but I chose 25. I never planned to get to this amount. It just kind of happened. When I lived in South Alabama, I had some wonderful quilty friends, and I was just kind of new into quilting. And just the fact that I wanted to learn so much from these ladies who have been quilting for so long, and when they started doing projects, I just wanted to jump on every one almost. And so between that and taking classes and just wanting to see stuff in a quilt shop that I wanted to do, I just wound up accumulating a lot of things and starting a lot of things and haven't finished. So this year we were hoping to dwindle that down. So I have a planner here, and these are quilts that I have at different stages. Some of them are completely finished, some of them are not. So of those, I chose 25, and I put them on a little spreadsheet, and I sent them to my two friends, and we're just keeping each other accountable. So for January, I finished 2, and one of them is this. I wound up making it into a pillow, and it is, I'm pretty sure this is a Lori Holt 6-inch block, and I just put 2.5-inch squares around and finished the back as a pillow. So number 1. And then the next one that I finished is from the Quilts and More magazine, and he's upside down. And he looked a little different in the magazine. I don't remember exactly everything, but I decided to add a little female cardinal, and then I just cross-hatched it and did it. I don't think, there might have been some blocks on the bottom that were pieced, but I didn't do that. So, and I have a visitor here, so we're gonna have to just work with him because I knew he would come down, but I'm trying to hurry up and do this before my husband gets home, so I can have a quiet house, even though I have a few little meows. So this is Ollie. I think y'all have met Ollie before. Some of you have anyway. So finish number 2. Okay, so the one I'm gonna show you next, this is a Tilda quilt, and I'm stitching it with my friend April and Wanda. And April, I think, is doing a little bit different quilt, but it's the same pixelated type design. And mine is called the Flower Base Embroidery Quilt, I believe is what mine is. Yes, by Tilda. It's a free pattern on their website. And so I've done the first 2 sections. So I wanted to share that with you. It is a bit of a challenge, and I wonder if using the grid would be a little bit easier, like a fusible grid, but I haven't tried that yet. So between each quilt, I'm gonna pause so that I can take one down and put the next one up if they require the design wall. So give me just a moment and I will be right back. Okay. So the next quilt I have for you is called an I Spy Hexie quilt. And I happened to find a piece of fabric. Actually, let me pause. I'll go get the fabric. I'll show it to you what it looks like. So the quilt behind me, when I first purchased it, it was just a yard of fabric, and it was this fabric. And I had an idea of what if I made an I Spy quilt with this fabric. So I started making hexies. And I was on the hunt for finding small motifs that would fit in this size of a hexie, and then I made the hexies. It's English paper piecing, and then I applique them into the center of each of those hexes. And then for the border, I chose this aqua fabric. This little aqua fabric, and I'll move the camera closer in just a minute. But the aqua fabric, and I'm going to use it as a border. So I'm going to cut these in half to even up everything, and then this will be the border all the way around. And so every hexie in here is different. Now it might be from the same piece of fabric, but it's a different motif. So, but every little picture is a little bit different, even though it might have come from the same fabric line. So let's look at that. I do plan on using this as the back. I thought that would be kind of a fun, it's just a fun kind of motifs from around America maybe. So let me move it a little bit closer. Hopefully I won't make it too dizzy. So you can see the motifs. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a great travel project. I used to have to fly for work, and it was a great travel project for work to do the little hexies and just wrap them around the paper and stitch them on the plane. And anyway. So this is a whole yard of fabric that's on the wall here. So it's the full yard and the full width. And then I added the hexies on the outside, like I said, for the border. I'll cut those to try to get an even border all the way around, and then add the aqua as a border. So that's the next one that I hope to get finished. It's pretty close. We're getting there. Okay, so next up, I'll be right back. Okay, so this one was a little bit harder to hang, but this is called French Roses, and I have started quilting it. I have some of the quilting done here in the center. And it's a fun block to make. It is layers of, this is probably an 8-inch block, 8.5. Then it has a bottom rows, then a middle, another middle, and then a center. So 4 layers. And then they have the leaves. And then it kind of has, similar to a piano keyboarder. I don't know if you would still call that a piano keyboarder, but use the same fabrics all the way around in the square border, and then the yellow repeated on the outside borders. So it just needs to be finished with this free motion quilting. I'm just doing a kind of a medium stipple, and yeah. And then the back of it is a Lori Holt Be in My Bonnet, just a little pink dot. Can't really see it. So let me get you a little bit closer. So there's the back of it. And then the quilting so far. Just using a pale yellow thread for the quilting. All right, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the next one is a Valentine candy quilt, and this was a Moda Bake Shop pattern, so it's a freebie. And I decided to do it in a jelly roll that I had from Moda, and I don't remember, I think it's Me and My Sister was the designers. And so there's 3 rows of lollipops. You can't see the bottom row, but there's 5 across and then 3 rows. So this was one I had actually pulled out for this month to try to get bound or basted and quilted and bound, but you can see I haven't gotten that far yet. So I may wind up having to choose a different quilt that's closer to being finished to keep on with my goal. So anyway, hopefully I can get it done for next year, because it's a cute one. It would be fun to hang up. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is an applique heart quilt. This is early on in my stitching. I wanted to learn how to do applique and needle turn. And so this is what this is. All of the hearts are different. I'll bring you a little bit closer. And just used a really pretty green tonal for the sashing, and then a really pretty pink rose for the border. And on the back is just a little pink dot. So needle turn applique. Get you closer so you can see. Just fun little pink hearts. And I had planned on big stitch quilting this, and I still think I really want to do that. So I found my thread and the needles the other day, and so I think it's time to get that out and try my hand at big stitch quilting. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is Summer Swag by Krista Mosier, and you do see some tape going down the center. That's my first stitching line, so I have that on there ready to go. It's all basted, pin basted, and ready to go. I took this class with Krista at Birdsong Quilting in Georgetown, Kentucky with my mom. My mom has already finished her quilt and stitched it, and everything is already done. And Krista has it posted on her website under, I think it's under either class finishes or student finishes or something like that. Anyway, it's real pretty. It's in batiks and like bright, some umbrella looking. But anyway, I did mine patriotic, and so it's called Summer Swag, like I said, and it has the big stars, and then it has like the little umbrella looks around. And if you haven't ever seen Krista, she has some great tutorials on her website, and really cute quilts and great ways to use strips and scraps. And she has a Creative Grids ruler that she uses specifically for her quilts, and I would highly recommend her if you ever get a chance to take a class from her. She's wonderful and so upbeat and fun, and we had a great time. So up next. Okay, so next up is, hold on. Okay, a table runner next, something smaller. So maybe this should be the one I should pull out for February. I could get it finished perhaps. It comes out of the Simple Seasons Kim Deal book. And there's a picture of the table runner on the back. And so I'm to the point of where I'm putting the vines, stitching those down. I think I have them all down. Now I'm working on adding the leaves. So I've got one here in progress. And so let me see if I can get a closer picture for you. This is a better picture. And so it has tulips and leaves, and then there are corners with tulips, and there's two corners with the tulips, and each of those tulips have a yo-yo, on as a flower too. And there's yo-yos along the vine as well. So all of those are made, all the leaves are made. I just have to stitch them on. So, and then it needs to be quilted. So there'll be a little quilting motif in each of those squares. Some kind of little motif there, and then quilting in this area. And it will be ready. All right, let's see what's next. Okay, this is Sunbonnet Sue umbrellas. And I found this little kit out in Durango, Colorado on one of our trips, and thought it was so cute, and got it and did all of the applique using a machine blanket stitch and put them together. I have this adorable blue for the backing. Have the binding already made and ready to go. So what do you think about April or maybe March for this one, and get get it ready for April. How about that? So Sunbonnet Sue, and I can bring you a little bit closer so you can see the applique. So really cute. All right. On to the next one. Okay, got your sunglasses on. This one's bright. This is Beatitudes from Art to Heart, and mine is quite a diversion from the original as far as the colors go. So I went way bright and I love it. So everything is done except the buttons, and you put the buttons on last, and I just have to add the borders. I did choose some borders. I'm not sure what I chose. I've got a variety here of brights, and I'll have to go back and decide which goes where. There's a red, a blue, and then the outside border. So I've got to decide what I'm gonna do for my borders. So be warm, be loving, be positive, be kind, be patient, be respectful, be honest, be prayerful, be smart, be forgiving, be grateful, and be joyful. Can't see the bottom ones that well. So there's that one. Merry Christmas. So this is Old Tannenbaum. This was one that I said I would never make, and I got talked into making it. It wasn't very hard, to truth be told. It's such a beautiful quilt. But it was, at the time, it was probably not the wisest thing to do because it has taken me forever to get it done, and it's still not done. It is, so these are courthouse step blocks. These are log cabin blocks, I think, or a version of log cabin. These stars. These houses, these 4 houses, these are all paper pieced, very tiny. If you see this one, I mean, just kind of draw you in a little closer. You see how tiny those pieces are. And then there's all this applique, which is gorgeous, but I still got to stitch it down. And then the pieced borders, and yeah, it's a lot. I love the Christmas tree in the center. It's so pretty. And these are all, for the most part, Nancy Halverson fabrics. And without the generosity of the ladies that went before us and did this quilt, Louise has done this quilt, but there was quite a few ladies that went before us that did this quilt that gave us their leftover fabrics. And without them, I wouldn't even have this quilt. So some of them are still with us, some of them are not. And so it's a bittersweet memory, but I do want to get it finished. It is beautiful, and it deserves to be finished in their memory, if for nothing else. So the next step on this one is to applique. I'm going to machine applique the poinsettias and holly berries, or holly leaves. And then I need to see what's next. That may be the next thing is the quilting after that. And I have a backing chosen, and so it just needs to get finished. So. Okay, so the next quilt is the laundry basket quilt. It's out of Friendship and Strips and Scraps by Edita Saitar, and this is the quilt. Again, I went pretty different in that my background is lighter and my spools are much brighter. The applique on the 2 sides are completely done. the needle turn applique. And then on the bottom applique, I have the bottom applique done as well. I can bring it in close so you can see. And then it has a little birdie, a little bluebird at the bottom, so gotta place that. And then I think the top border needs a lot more work. I think that's where I left off. Let's see. Yeah, the top border is still just in pieces. So, pinned in pieces. So there's my top border. So this has quite a bit of work left to do, especially the needle turn. But it's a beautiful quilt and I love it, and definitely want to get it finished. This was a example of I hadn't read the instructions very well, and when I did my strip piecing, I just did random strips. I didn't do them all the same size, and in the book they're all the same strip width, but that's okay. I like seeing some of the bigger strips so I can see the pieces of fabric, and that's just okay. So this quilt is from a class I took. At the time it was the 2007-2008 Mystery Quilt by Moda U, and it's by different designers. There's all kinds of different blocks in here. And I'm gonna try to move you back a little bit. Well, maybe if I hold it for a second. So the one up here, the skinny one, that is a Sandy Gervais. And then this one with the flag and the bucket is Minnick and Simpson. And this one is Blackbird design. And then there's quite a few others on here as well from different designers that are still designing fabrics for Moda. And this quilt, like for homework, we were supposed to have all the blocks done, and then we were supposed to have the big reveal when everything was done. And we basted mine all together because I basically had most of it done. I just didn't have some of the stitching done around the appliques. So we basted it all together. Well, now I've taken it all back apart because it's easier to do machine stitching when you don't have the huge quilt. So one of the blocks or the rows you can't even see. I have it down here. This is the bottom row. And it's just different filler blocks and things. So, this one is needle turn applique. This one is stitched on the machine with the blanket stitch. Another needle turn applique. Another blanket stitch down here. It was a fabulous quilt to work on. I just loved it. And wonderful fall colors and just so many techniques that I learned on this quilt. And just, from piecing to cutting out, and the yo-yos on the basket handle. I mean, I just love this quilt, and I still love the colors. I still just love it. And so I need to get back to it as well. I mean, every one of these, it's why it made the list, I guess. Lots of piecing. There's lots of fig tree fabric in here. I'm not sure what other fabrics, but the quilt shop that I took the class at is called The Front Porch. It's in Ozark, Alabama, and it's still there. And the majority of these fabrics came from there. That's where I took the class. And anyway, just great memories. So one day we'll get back to this one. It's on the list. All right, so the next one up is called Nature's Gifts. It was featured in the American Quilter magazine. It was a four-part series, And I might be able to show you the full quilt. Yeah. That is the whole quilt. So where I am on this one is finishing the stitching around some of the motifs. So there needs to be stitching around the holly and the berries, around that flower, around the butterfly, the snowflake, the jonquil, hummingbird, and the dragonfly. And they do have some specialty fibers in here that I'll have to go back and read up on and make sure I know what's happening there. But these are, the next time I feature this quilt, maybe I'll pull out those fibers and show them to you so you can see what I'm talking about. But these were done with fossil fern Benartex fabrics, and I thought they were perfect for that. And one of the friends that's doing the 20 and 25 with me, I saw that she had this quilt on her list as well. So it's pretty ambitious. It does have this really interesting ribbon border, this purple border right here. So that's a interesting border, and then it does have more applique. So yeah. Oh. So anyway, so I need to go back and find out where I am. This block is really, I think, the only one. I'm not sure if there's anything that goes in here, maybe beading goes in the grid for the sunflower. And then the rest of them definitely need some work. They need the stitching done on them. So, all right, so next is Dancing Umbrella by Laundry Basket Quilts. And I've got just 4 up here, but I have a whole stack that's finished. They're appliqued on here, and then they're ready to be stitched. So, by the way, if you can hear a shower in the background, I apologize because my husband has come home. So, anyway, Laundry Basket Quilts, I guess appropriate, rain, water, anyway. This might be in April. Get her out and get her done. Okay, so these are some bee blocks. There's not all of them. It would take too long for me to put them all up. However, I have a stack of them. When I lived in Enterprise, I was at one time, I was the president of the Quilt Guild. And so as a president leaving office, they made me bee blocks. And I was also leaving town and moving. And so just the generosity of all the bee blocks that they made. And so I want to get this quilt done. I want to put all the blocks together and have a beautiful quilt to hang on my wall. So these are just some of the blocks that I thought I would feature today. I plan on doing a sashing between them so that each one is like a little portrait of its own. This is my good friend Louise Wanda that I stitch with. This was hers. Another great friend, Janann, that I stitch with and have quilted with. Barbara Adcock, some other friends. Just fantastic. Kathy is actually the one that's also doing the stitch with us, the 20 and 25. So anyway, these are, I've taken them out and looked at them and arranged them and played with them, and I need to do it again. So it's time to get it done. So the bee quilt is coming. So this was a half-yard challenge by our guild in Alabama, and so it's a ladybug of the main fabric here and some little daisies. And so I want to just get it quilted and as a little table topper, be cute for a little picnic. But it was just a challenge, and so I just need to get it quilted and move on. So this one hasn't been started, but it's all packaged together. It's going to be a magical 9-patch. It's me and my sister, Cherry On, and so very cute, bright, cheery fabrics. And so I want to get that done. So it'll be a cute throw quilt. And let's see, the next one is this pinwheel topper by Bonnie and Camille. The fabrics are. And if you've ever seen the little pinwheel, it is a ruler that you can use charm packs, layer cakes, different depending on the size you want to make, and you can make these little pinwheels. And so just a little table topper, just need to get it finished and get it quilted. There's one quilt I can't find, so I will only have 24 to show you today. So let me get the next one ready. Okay, so the next one is a pencil quilt. And so you can see this. They look like pencils, top and bottom. So these are paper pieced. And then I have the strips all done. So now I need to add the paper piecing to the top and the bottom of each one. And the quilt looks like this. It's basically a big old 9 patch of pencils. So I have all of the strip piecing done, and I have been working on, or the last thing I was working on was doing the pencils. So I have a writer in the family, so I wonder if she might want this when it gets done. All right. And before I do the next one, the pencil quilt is in this magazine. So I thought I might show that again. It is 2012 Spring Summer Quilt Sampler. So the next one I'm going to show you is the cover of this one. And this is 2011 June and the yo-yo quilt. So I have the background that all my yo-yos are going to go on. I have the backing that my quilt is going to go on. And if I remember correctly, you needed over 400 yo-yos, 409. So there's some of them. And here's the rest of them. 409 yo-yos. There's 290 in here. So those yo-yo makers, they got a workout when I was making this one. So funny story, kind of a theme for me and my mom. So my mom was like, I don't really have anything to do. She was, at the time my dad was in the hospital and she didn't really have anything to do to keep her busy. And I said, well, why don't you make a yo-yo quilt or something? And so she decided, okay, well, I'll make a yo-yo quilt. And she got the yo-yo maker and batiks. So she did all batiks for yo-yos. She's completely finished it. It's quilted. Yeah. End of the story. My mom, she's amazing. Love her. Okay, let's see what's up next. Okay, Lori Holt, Quilty Fun. So it's in this book. And I have a ways to go. So I just put these strips up in random. I don't, this is not necessarily the order that they go in, most definitely. But yeah. So just fun fabrics. Some of them are Lori Holt, some of them are not. At this point, there might not be any Lori Holt. I don't know. Not sure. Anyway, there they are, strips. So I have still lots of things to make. So I have the house block to make, the tulip block, the star block, the basket block, the leaf block, mitten block. Lots to make. Quilty Fun. Okay, the next one I have is called a Tisket a Tasket. It's by Bunny Hill Designs, and these are some of the blocks that I have worked on. And I thought I would show you each block. I don't have a picture of the completed quilt, but I'll show you each block. So this was January. I do have 2 of the January ones up there. So these 2. I'll go closer in just a second. And then the February. And so those are these 2. March. Those 2. April. And I do have that one here, and the little bunny, he's white. And then May. June. July. September. Oh. August. September. October. November. And December. So again, this is the bunny hole pattern. At the time that I got it, they were all free. So I don't know if it's still available or not. But I'll move you a little closer so you can see what I've done so far. So you'll notice these just have a thin basket handle, and then I had the idea of making rickrack basket handles, and I love that. And then I just hand stitched it down. And then these are machine appliqued. These are machine appliqued. These are hand embroidery. And then again, the thin versus the rickrack. So I love the colors here. Love the rickrack here too. So, and then next for March, thin. And then this time I did a different treatment. Instead of going down the center, I did a zigzag around the rickrack, little lazy daisies, and then there's the rickrack for the bunny. So it's super fun quilt. It's Bunny Hill designed. She has so many beautiful quilts. And so that comes to the last of my quilts. I had one that I did not get to show you. I cannot locate. It's a completed top. It's just a small table topper, and I just haven't located it yet. So I know there's quite a few here, and I still have other tops that need to be finished too. I may have to abandon in a way. Well, let me back up. I may have to change some of my things on my list or move them to next year and add something else in, because I want to get finishes. So if I have some smaller projects that I find along the way that are closer to being finished, I may do that and then do less next year on the list, but conquer some of the bigger projects. So we'll just have to see how it goes. So, but right now I'm going to try to stick to my list because I really love all of these projects and want them finished. So just wanted to share those with you. I hope you could be encouraged. If you have a lot of UFOs, that you could maybe make a top 10 list and knock out some of the ones that you want to really get done, and hopefully be encouraged. And I will do some checkbacks. So this is February. I meant to do this in January, no, February. So hopefully I'll do another Quilty tube in March, and we'll see what kind of progress I have made on reaching my goal. Thank you for watching. Take care. Happy quilting.